Verbal or life.
Okay, how come the bombing of Iran, the greatest bombing ever of this country, is not being celebrated by the media? Like, are they really going up against Trump to make the man look bad? Did it really happen? Like, everybody just wants to see the video to see if it's true or not. It's really crazy. On top of that, the guy that was supposed to be deported to, the guy from Maryland that was supposed to be deported to, what country was that? To his country. Now he's not going to jail in America and they are deporting him. Man, some crazy news. Let's take a look at Jesse Waters' prime time to see what he got to say about that. And then give us more perspective about this bombing in Iran to see if it really happened, because that's crazy. That bomber going deep inside and destroying the nuclear program that Iran had, again, needs to be celebrated. But because it was Trump, they're really not talking much about it, or they're saying it's fake. So we don't even know if it was fake. But let's take a look at Jesse Waters' prime time, see what he got to say about it.
Democrats are admitting this may be Donald Trump's best week as president. NATO is calling him daddy. The ceasefire's holding, Iran's nuclear program's obliterated, and the stock market's about to hit an all-time high. Today at the Pentagon, Pistol Pete spiked the football right in the media's face. Secretary Hegseth and General Raisin Kane thanked the boys in the B-2s who pulled off Saturday's operation. A mission 15 years in the making.
Yeah.
In 2009, an officer was brought into a secret vault and briefed on a major construction project in Iran's mountain.
For more than 15 years, this officer and his teammate lived and breathed this single target, Fordow.
So Democrats can get some credit. This is not something that Trump came up with last minute. 15 years sounds like a long time. All the president talked about it, but nobody had the balls to do anything except for Trump. And that's it. Rolling out, what was it called? Operation Hammer or Midnight Hammer. And it's just making Trump look good.
He watched the Iranians dig it out. He watched the construction, the weather, the discard material, the geology, the construction materials, where the materials came from. He looked at the vent shaft, the exhaust shaft, the electrical systems, the environmental control systems, every nook, every crater, every piece of equipment going in and every piece of equipment going out. They literally dreamed about this target at night when they slept. They thought about it driving back and forth to work, and they knew from the very first days what this was for. And along the way, they realized we did not have a weapon that could adequately strike and kill this target. So they began a journey to work with industry and other tacticians to develop the GBU-57.
For over a decade, PhDs, geologists, and munition teams perfected the blast.
Yeah.
They practiced it on dummy mountains. The bunker buster was born. Then
on CNN, they complained that that video right there they're showing is not adequate because it was 300 feet. Hold on.
And the Air Force got a call Friday. Trump said the mission was a go.
The crews that attacked Fordow were from the active duty Air Force and the Missouri Air National Guard. The crews ranked from captain to colonel, and most were graduates of the Air Force Weapons School headquartered at Nellis Air Force Base in Nevada. I will state for the record that there is no beach volleyball or football at the Air Force Weapons School.
The target was the size of a washing machine. Miss, and the mission fails.
The United States decided to strike these two ventilation shafts, as seen here on the main graphic, as the primary point of entry into the mission space. In the days preceding the attack against Fordow, the Iranians attempted to cover the shafts with concrete.
Even this, the mainstream media already are going on CNN and talking about how this is not good enough, how these videos and these footages are not helpful, that what the Iranian had was more complicated, and they don't believe none of this.
To try to prevent an attack. The cap was forcibly removed by the first weapon, and the main shaft was uncovered. Weapons 2, 3, 4, 5 were tasked to enter the main shaft, move down into the complex at greater than 1,000 feet per second, and explode in the mission space. The primary kill mechanism in the mission space was a mix of overpressure and blast, ripping through the open tunnels and destroying critical hardware.
The Pentagon releasing these videos simulating the bomb blast. We dropped 420,000 pounds of these beasts and then threw in 30,000 pounds of tomahawks just for dessert.
Yeah.
That kind of firepower, that cavern lab is incinerated. After 6 bullseyes, we knew the regime would retaliate, and they did, lobbing missiles at our largest base in the region, and our soldiers were ready.
You know that you're going to have approximately 2 minutes, 120 seconds to either succeed or fail. The sun sets in the west. Iran attacks. As the targets were detected, round after round of Patriot missiles are ejected from their canisters by an initial launch charge. Then the main solid rocket motor ignites. You can feel this in your body if you've ever been around a Patriot taking a shot. And round after round goes out and guides against those missiles coming inbound. We believe that this is the largest single Patriot engagement in U.S. military history. These awesome humans, along with their Qatari brothers and sisters in arms, stood between a salvo of Iranian missiles and the safety of Al-Udeid. They are the unsung heroes of the 21st century United States Army.
Patriot.
This got to be celebrated. And this is what I was talking about at the beginning of the video, that they don't talk about this more on regular media. Like, this is an incredible feat that they just performed. Something that only this country could do. Nobody else can do this. So we got to talk about it, give ourselves credit. America's #1. Trump is doing the impossible. A mission plan that we've been planning this for, what he said, 15 years? Come on now.
Battery operators were hooting and hollering that night as they intercepted missile after missile from the mullahs. We're so proud of our men and women in uniform. Such courage and such ingenuity.
Yeah.
The mission was perfectly executed. The only question is if Iran moved their uranium.
The uranium was removed from the facility before the B-2 struck.
So I'm not aware of any intelligence that I've reviewed that says things were not where they were supposed to be, moved or otherwise.
The International Atomic Energy Agency and the Israeli Atomic Energy Commission both say the American payloads completely destroyed the enrichment facilities and the centrifuges. Iran's even admitting its nuclear sites are toast.
Our nuclear installations have been badly damaged, that's for sure, because it has come under repeated attacks by Israeli and American aggressors.
The only ones who say Iran's nuke program survived, besides CNN, is the Ayatollah, who came out of hiding and says he slapped us like Bridget Macron.
The Islamic Republic dealt a severe slap to the face of America.
Besides Iranian Baghdad Bob, CNN couldn't find a single soul to back up their fake story. Oh, and they tried.
You could see that the key nodes of a centrifuge program were hit. So the program is severely damaged.
I am confident that Iran has suffered a catastrophic blow to its enrichment program.
They did it perfectly. So we should have, as kind of Norm said, an expectation that there was significant damage.
And you know what? If these are the initial reports at the beginning, they should talk about all the great things, that there's a possibility that it worked. They should be giving America credit that they don't have any proof that it didn't work. Let them come up with a proof. You know what I mean? Make us look good. Why they don't do that? Legacy media is losing credibility because it is. So, oh, and by the way, if you're still watching the video, give it a thumbs up. My name is Noel, here presenting you some facts about the Iranian strikes.
The reporter who fronted the piece is a known con artist. They call her Nasty Natasha.
In 2020, it was Natasha Bertrand who had 51 intelligence analysts falsely lie to her, but she still put it on paper for some reason, that the Hunter Biden laptop story was Russian disinformation. Also, in 2024, Bertrand pushed the suckers and losers hoax. She also pushed the fine people hoax, which was taking the president's words purposely.
And that's crazy. She got the White House going up against her, putting her first and last name on display, that do not trust this reporter.
Out of context. And so this is a reporter who has been unfortunately used by people who dislike Donald Trump in this government to push fake and false narratives. She should be ashamed of herself.
Crazy.
You know it's really bad when Morning Joe won't touch the bunker buster hoax.
We also have to be cautious about being played by people inside the intel community who want to get their message out. That's happened an awful lot. Happened a lot in Iraq. It happened a lot in Afghanistan. So again, that's why waiting to see what happens actually, and not drawing too many conclusions makes sense.
Jake Tapper says he's just being a journalist and asking questions.
Asking questions is literally our job. Demanding facts and answers instead of just taking a president's word for it.
No.
Jake just started asking questions when Trump got sworn in. He never asked why Biden's taking the short stairs or why an Alzheimer's doctor is visiting the White House every week. And we're not saying you have to believe everything the president says. You don't. But use your head. The Air Force hasn't missed a target since Desert Storm. CNN just spent 48 hours claiming our bombs don't work and Iran's nuke program's intact. Now Tapper's saying, we were just demanding answers. And his next book's going to be called How Trump Destroyed Fordo. Trump says fake news CNN is so disgusting and incompetent, some of the dumbest anchors in the business. Hegseth says they all just have a wicked case of TDS.
Crazy.
Because you, and I mean specifically you, the press, specifically you, the press corps, because you cheer against Trump so hard. It's like in your DNA and in your blood to cheer against Trump because you want him not to be successful so bad. You have to cheer against the efficacy of these strikes. You have to hope maybe they weren't effective. Maybe the way the Trump administration has represented them isn't true. So let's take half-truths, spun information, leaked information, and then spin it in every way we can to try to cause doubt and manipulate the public mind over whether or not our brave pilots were successful.
Today, Democrats got...
That's crazy. Finally, politicians are being honest, looking straight into the camera and letting the public know, every one of us know that these people are lying. That's it. The media is a government control arm of the Democratic Party who are just trying to destroy this country. Like, I've lost all hope. I don't know about you guys, but I have no hope for the media.
Got briefed on Operation Midnight Hammer. And here's Chuck Schumer's takeaway.
There was no coherent strategy, no end game, no plan, no specific, no detailed plan on how Iran does not attain a nuclear weapon.
Schumer must still be dehydrated from the elliptical because the strategy to prevent Iran from obtaining a nuclear weapon was to bomb the places where they were making nuclear weapons.
Duh.
What is wrong with this guy? It's starting to look like the leaker didn't come from the Pentagon. They came from Congress.
We're investigating who that leaker was. It could have been someone in the intelligence community, or it could have been someone on Capitol Hill who had access to this document. The FBI is searching for that person.
Donald Trump says the Democrats are the ones who leaked the information on the perfect flight to the nuclear sites in Iran. They should be prosecuted. The Justice Department says if they find someone in Congress leaked, they're going to prison.
I'm not aware of an immunity clause that protects anybody in this country from disclosing classified, top secret, or even higher information to the New York Times.
Democrats.
That's insane. We're going to see people getting arrested this year. Somebody got to go down, man. With all of this, can't wait to see.
They're now complaining that Trump isn't sharing all of his intel with them. maybe that's because they keep leaking it. Now, if Trump gave Democrats a heads up on Operation Midnight Hammer, they would have told the Ayatollah. That can't happen. Daddy hates leaks in the house.
I just want to get your attention. I really want to be all up in your head. Yeah. Is it you say daddy's home for me?
I can't believe they're playing this song. Let me pause that. I want to get a strike. But they actually call him Daddy.
Who loves that song joins me now. All right, Senator, they're accusing the President of the United States of lying about a military operation to the American people and then manipulating the intelligence afterwards. Why would they do that?
Because they hate him so much. They want him to lose more than they love the country, and that's sad. But do you have your cell phone? Can you look up what obliterate, the definition of obliterate is? Look it up. Everybody right now. Don't go to lindseygraham.com. That comes later. Look up obliterate. It says destroy utterly and wipe out. You have not heard one Democrat come out of that briefing denying that this thing was not obliterated. It was destroyed utterly. They wiped out all 3 sites. They will never be operational for years. A complete home run. Obliterate is what happened to the targets. They were obliterated. But the regime still wishes to kill all the Jews and us. So we still got a problem with Iran, but these 3 sites were completely, utterly destroyed. Look up the definition of obliterate.
All right, so the sites are obliterated.
Yes.
And Lindsey Graham wants regime change. Is that what you're saying? You want to go in and topple the Ayatollah? How would we do that?
I don't remember that part. You're getting to be Natasha here. So
nasty Natasha?
No, I don't want to invade Iran. I don't want to put American soldiers on the ground. But I would love to see the Ayatollah go away or change, wouldn't you?
Yeah, I mean, I'd like to see all the guys that hate America go, but it's just not always the best way to do it is to get the U.S. military involved. Do you think the U.S. military should get involved in regime change in Iran?
Absolutely not.
Okay.
Okay, so the bottom line is I hope the Iranian people will change course. The Ayatollah could change, I guess, but here's the test. I don't mind negotiating even with the Ayatollah. I want peace. I'm willing to live in peace with this regime if they will live in peace with us. So the first question to ask the Ayatollah before you negotiate, are you willing to change your policy where you advocate to kill all the Jews and destroy Israel? In other words, will you admit Israel has a right to exist before we sit down and talk? And if they won't say that, you know they're not really serious about peace. But no, I don't want to invade Iran. I don't want to get us involved with a war with the Iranians, but I do want this regime to change. I'd love for the Ayatollah to be replaced by somebody that would live in peace with us, but that's up to the Iranian people.
I loved how you said that. I don't want regime change, but I want the regime to change.
I do.
I mean, yes, we all do, of course. This guy, this guy's not a good guy. We all want that. It's just a little
dicey. It's not about him.
Now,
wait a minute, Tommy. It's not about him being a good guy. He wants to kill every Jewish person in Israel because they're Jewish. He's a religious Nazi. He wants to kill us.
Right.
He has American blood on his hands.
No, absolutely. He's a bad guy. When I say he's a bad guy, he's a bad guy. I get it. We agree.
Yeah, we agree.
He's a bad hombre, as you say. That's right. Right now, they're looking for a leaker.
Yeah.
So does Congress, how does this work? Because now they're looking at Congress. I thought at first it was a Pentagon guy, but now they're saying it could have been a member of Congress. Do they go into a computer and access it? Like, how does this work?
You get the report. You get the initial assessment. Members of Congress do on certain committees. We can rule me out as the leaker.
Crossing you off the list, Lindsey.
I am not pushing the narrative. This was not a very good strike.
Right.
This was obliteration by the definition in the dictionary. And if you were on the ground...
No, but just explain to the audience for us how this works. The congressmen go into this little place.
Yeah, we get information, certain committees do, about the initial Defense Intelligence Agency assessment. Somebody leaked that assessment to suggest that the operation was not what Trump said it was. They have a political motivation. You don't have to be Sherlock Holmes to figure this out.
Right.
It's somebody who wants to undercut Trump. Is that a member of Congress? It could be. I don't care what your title is. If you're leaking classified information, you should go to jail.
Okay, so if it's a member of Congress, they're looking at hard time. All right, Lindsey Graham, we're crossing you off the suspect list.
I didn't do it.
Thank you so much. And you forgot to mention lindseygraham.com. Breaking news on Melania, plus Johnny and the Mermaids.
If you were president of the United States, what would be the first thing that you do?
Everybody naked.
Well, at the very least, releasing classified information is not like death. It's not an automatic you're going to die. If somebody just goes to jail, though, it will be good. So like that, everybody will learn not to do something like that. You know, it sends a clear message, no leaking information. So somebody has to go to jail. Otherwise, it's going to keep happening. It only makes sense to keep happening. Sorry about that. So somebody got to get caught. Otherwise, it's going to be a problem with the next strike that the United States do. And that last strike, historic, amazing, the best, and it needs to be celebrated by legacy media and stop trying to rain on Trump's parade. But let's see what else Jesse Waters got. Let me fast forward past the commercials. Let's go.
It's a hostile takeover of the Democrat Party. For years, the boomers tried to keep a lid on the communist volcano. And now it's like Mount Vesuvius. The Clintons, Bidens, Kerrys, Pelosi's, Cuomo's, the old guard era is over. The coup broke the machine and crazy Kamala took over. Even though she got smoked, the socialists want to take it coast to coast.
You're a proud Democratic socialist. Do you think that is a platform that would work for other candidates running in other parts of the country?
Absolutely. I think ultimately this is a campaign about inequality. And you don't have to live in the most expensive city in the country to have experienced that inequality because it's a national issue.
Senior,
they got to stop it with the inequality. How about people go get a job, go work your ass off, and you want more money, save more money from your job. Live in an area that you can afford. All right, stop doing crazy things that you see online. Other people showing off money. No, teach people how to survive, and that's it. No more ideology. There's no racism. No more LGBTQ. No DEI. Get a damn job. Simple as that.
Your Democrats are sweating they're going to lose their jobs. After seeing what ᎫᎬʲan the Destroyer did to the establishment, they're on the lookout for copycat communists. People have anxiety, rightfully so. Their hair is on fire. Other Democrats are afraid to talk about the Destroyer. Quote, a number of other Democrats refused to comment or literally ran away from reporters' questions. Bernie says the Democrat Party's the Titanic, and it's a race for the life vests.
Yeah.
What is the Democratic Party today, Chris? It is, I don't think people can argue with us. It is funded by very wealthy people. It is run by inside the Beltway consultants. It
is the woke party. That's what the Democratic Party is. They are super woke.
Is a party which is not going to take on powerful special interests because of fundraising fears. And it certainly has turned its back on working people. Will the Democratic leadership learn from his campaign? I doubt it. I think they would rather go down with the Titanic than give up the fact that they are captains of the boat.
Bernie says the Destroyer is like a son to him, and he's going to soak the rich before they can move to Palm Beach.
It was one of the great political victories in modern history. ᎫᎬʲan ran a brilliant campaign, and his message said, you know what? In a time of unprecedented income and wealth inequality, yeah, we are going to ask the richest people in New York City to stop paying their fair share of taxes.
So what's ᎫᎬʰan the Destroyer got going for him? Well, he's not 80, and he's not a ditzy little lady. His suit fits, he's good on TikTok, and single white girls love him. Single white girls love him because New York's expensive, and his plan sounds a lot like their college professors. And who cares if he wants government-run grocery stores? They don't cook. They order Uber Eats. They're the ones who are going to pay more under the destroyer. His own housing plan, you ready here? It says he wants to tax the white neighborhoods. Zoran's a smooth-talking assassin who could take over Manhattan, but he's going to tank the party nationally. He wants to defund the NYPD, and he called them racist. He says he wants to ban all guns, not just ARs, all guns. He wants taxpayer-funded child sex change surgeries, and John Fetterman says Zohan's win is like Christmas in July for Republicans, except it's June, but we get the point. Carville says the rise of Zoran, the destroyer, could destroy the party.
Can't imagine that any Democratic candidate anywhere in the country is going to be able to escape answering this question. I think the microphones will follow them around. I think that they're going to pound this home as hard as they possibly can. Depending on who comes in a general election, there's a lot of Democrats going to have a hard go at this. I think it's a potentially damaging event.
Yeah. Fox News contributor and author of On Democracies and Death Cults, Douglas Murray, is here. So
no, but yeah, that guy will destroy the Democratic Party. So he's good for the Republicans, all right? Because this guy, the destroyer, he's going to sink the Democratic Party. So he's going to bring great television for us to just be wow and like, I can't believe he just said that. This guy sounds like a maniac. What is he talking about? So we're going to keep seeing that all summer long. Can't wait.
So is Zohan the Destroyer the leader of a death cult in Manhattan?
Oh, well, he's certainly going to destroy the Democratic Party. My own view is that the American public, including the voters in New York, don't really like socialists of any kind. We don't like national socialists, and we don't like democratic socialists. And although national socialists have a much worse reputation, democratic socialists should have an equally bad reputation. Mandani has an appalling track record of extremism and bigotry of almost every kind. And his answer to the problems of New York is to chase out even more of the rich from New York than have already been chased out in recent years by previous Democrats. So no, he's absolutely box office poison for the party.
Right.
And
because they're
I don't
going to
agree
be asked
with
about this guy all day long until the midterms, and then all day long until the general, and they're already running away from reporters. How can the Democrat Party balance what looks like this rising communist volcano and, you know, the more normal side of the party?
You know what? It looks like the Democratic Party are afraid to go against this guy. They look like they're afraid to say something negative about Zoran. So like AOC talked positive about Zoran, and all other senators talk positive about this guy. Like, what's the fear? So if this guy wins, you're going to hear more and more politicians take his side. When at the end of the day, his side is crazy.
Well, it's going to be a big problem for them because, you say, they're literally running away from answering this question. Perhaps people like Kathy Hochul and others will eventually find their voice and point out that to elect somebody like Mandani would be deadly for New York, deadly for the citizens of the city. And those younger voters, people in their 20s who seem to have come out for Mandani, they've been promised a whole load of snake oil by him. But there's nothing that he's proposed that wouldn't make their lives worse. Just how many 20-somethings in New York feel good about the idea that the subway, when you ride it, that's already pretty dangerous, would be even more dangerous if you didn't have police in New York because Mandani had decided to defund them.
Yeah.
Nobody in New York thinks that the subway should become more dangerous. I can assure them of that. But on that policy and on every other, he is just leading the Democratic Party to the furthest unelectable position they could come to. Who knows? Maybe he can squeeze through in some way. I hope very much not. But whether or not he does, if the party as a whole goes in this direction, they lose all ability to get the actual mainstream voters of left and center back on board.
I think they just like his.
That man is just extreme left. Talking about getting rid of police officers. I grew up in Harlem, and Harlem is going to get crazy.
Vibes. At least that's what Jessica Tarlov told me. They just think he's a charismatic guy that looks like he's having a good time. I don't even think they know what his policies are, and that's pretty sad. I blame single white women.
Turns out
the
TikTok might not be
the
enough.
scourge of the country. Good to see you, Douglas. We'll be right back.
He said he blames single white women. At the end of the day, whoever's supporting this guy, it's just shocking. It got to be young people. It has to be, because anybody with logic and common sense and experience, just look at what this guy is saying and just say, yeah, he will destroy the city. No question about it. All right? Defunding the police and getting rid of everything that he wants to get rid of. We are looking at some crazy years if that guy wins. But it's going to be like years that Democrats, everybody in the city is going to get to complain. They love to complain about everything. So it's just going to be exciting to see. I'm glad I left the city. I don't have to live there anymore because it's going to be crazy if that guy wins. But let's see. It's in November. So come November, let's see who takes over. All right, let's go back to the show. Nice, secure border. I can hear that.
The border's been so quiet, Mnuchin's voice echoes on both sides of the wall. Trump's got a near perfect score, too.
Yeah.
Gotaways are down 98% from AutoPen. And Homan's adding new agents, and they're not even human. Alligator Alcatraz just broke ground in Florida's Everglades. In a month, 5,000 criminal aliens will check into their swamp suites. The tents are up, the trailers are parked, and the gators are on patrol. It's getting built faster than Biden's electric car chargers. And if Jose tries to make a break for it, hope he can swim like Phelps.
There ain't nowhere to escape from. I can tell you that when you're there. I mean, you're in a swamp, and yes, this is a facility that's been built for many years, but you know, it's as secure as it gets. The feds can process folks and then remove them from our country because it helps fulfill President Trump's mission.
Not everyone's loving the gator gulag. Indian tribes are protesting harder than the Redskins. They say Croc Rock is on their ancestral land. They'd rather deport the gators than the gangbangers.
This is all about developmental and governmental greed.
They're using a highly controversial issue like this to try to get people to not remember why we protected this site in the first place.
It's rather unkind for people to be stationed out here, specifically if, from what I've seen, people aren't getting what they need.
Unkind? It's supposed to be scary, all right? It's supposed to deter people from trying to escape. Come on now.
Need in these detention centers.
It's not just the tribal chiefs outraged. It's also white women with nose rings.
These motherfuckers really said, oh, we don't need to build a fence because there's enough alligators that nobody's going to want to run away. You know, I'm trying to just pay attention to everything that's going on and not let the fear override. But at a certain point, like how far is this going to go? Alligator Alcatraz. Holy.
Who's going to gator jail first? Well, the Maryland dad's still locked up in Tennessee, so he's halfway there.
Kilmar.
Crockett doesn't want Kilmar to swim with Crocs. She wants him to stay, but she wants the first lady to leave.
You're supposed to have some sort of significant achievement, like being awarded a Nobel Peace Prize or a Pulitzer, being an Olympic medalist, or having other sustained extraordinary abilities and success in sciences, arts, education, business, or athletics. Last time I checked, the First Lady had none of those accolades under her belt. It doesn't take an Einstein to see that the math ain't mathing here.
They want Melania to fly back to Slovenia, but the busboy serving brunch, he stays.
Going to a restaurant even. I mean, you may not have people being able to clear your place, move so quickly, the food being served.
Yeah.
The people aren't going to like that.
Former Speaker of the House, Newt Gingrich, joins me now. Alligator Alcatraz. Speaker Gingrich, are you in?
Look, I think what's going to come next
is a polar bear prison somewhere north of the Arctic Circle, and Trump will look around again and find a few more places. Look, we need to have a place to put people who should be deported, who should not be here, who are a threat to the American people. We have a place in Naples. We're not far from the Everglades. I can tell you that between the alligators and the pythons, there are plenty of good reasons for people in the Alcatraz of alligators to stay right there. And if my choice is to have them there or in New York City or Chicago,
we got to put fear on every prisoner. It's not supposed to be a fun experience. Yeah, don't you love it? Alligator Alley, that's right. Supposed to be scary. It's not supposed to be a nice place.
or Los Angeles, I think that down in Alligator Alcatraz is not a bad deal.
I love Naples. Camp Bielo is one of my favorite spots. Highly recommend it, Speaker. If you haven't been, go there immediately. Yep. They are concerned, the Democrats, about the busboys. Who's going to clear my brunch orders? You know, who's going to wash the dishes? Who's going to mow the lawn? What do you say about those people?
What the hell are you talking about?
Well, I mean, if you want a remarkable example of privilege, listen to what they're saying to you. I mean, my God, what if they had to actually serve themselves? What if they had to actually mow their lawn? I mean, the brutality of the Trump regime. I mean, but what we're really seeing here now.
Don't make me mow my own lawn. I mean, that is, I graduated from that a very long time ago. Please.
Well, my good friend Dave Winston just wrote a great piece and says, we're losing the Democratic Party and it's becoming the anti-Trump party. That whatever Trump does, they're against it, no matter how successful it is. You look at the border under Biden, which was deliberately open, and the speed with which President Trump has gotten control of the border, and it's like miraculous.
Yep.
I think it's equally comparable to what he just did in Iran. These are great, decisive breakthroughs, and of course, it drives the left crazy.
Yeah, he obliterated the migrant people coming, and then also the nuclear sites. You're aware of Crockett. That was the body that you inhabited for many years successfully in the 90s. She's now, they call her a rising star. She wants Melania deported. How do you sense her career is going?
Well, look, I'm tempted to send money to her campaign because, I mean, between the new mayor of New York, who is a radical socialist anti-Semite. I mean, you can't imagine this in a city which is the largest Jewish population outside of Israel. You take Mondami, then you take Crockett, then you take AOC. You need to realize this is a party destined to self-destruction. And I think we should encourage them, applaud them, make them feel good about themselves.
We're all write checks in the commercial break because this new generation is, it could detonate pretty soon. Speaker Gingrich, great to see you. Go to Camp Bielo's immediately.
Good to be.
Happy DEI Thursday.
Definitely, they should be celebrated. So like that, they could run a more general election and lose because that guy is a maniac that's going to wreck the city. All right? Definitely good. You could predict that. And you could be 100% sure that he's not going to bring anything positive to the city. We're living in some crazy time. All right, last segment is check out DEI Thursday.
Must have.
Happy DEI Thursday, Primetime's favorite day of the week. In honor of Reverend Al Sharpton, we're bringing you the best stories about diversity, equity, and inclusion. Up first, it's raining men or women, not sure. Watch.
Honey, it is 80 degrees here in Portland right now, honey, and we are feeling the effects. The sun is out. All it took was a pride parade to bring the sunshine out today. Honey, the water is 56 degrees, okay? Now, I know what you're thinking. That sounds so tropical, but you still got to be careful, okay? Hypothermia.
You know, I wonder, is that a man who's like LGBTQ, so he's dressed up as a woman? That's insane. What channel is this?
Is real, so take it easy. And down there near Raleigh, honey, there is an H with circles, which I can only assume means hurricane.
That was drag queen Chartreuse Money delivering the weather forecast on an NBC station in Maine for Pride Month. But he's confused in more ways than one. There's no hurricane coming to Raleigh. The weathermen are always wrong. Next, we don't claim to be DEI experts here at Primetime, but DEI Dr. Sean Harper, he does. He testified before Congress to share his expertise, and it went down like Cuomo.
Should people be treated differently based on their race? It's just a yes or no question.
It's not a yes or no question.
Yes,
People
it
should
is.
receive the services and the support and the remedies that are
So your answer
owed to
is
them.
that- do you believe that race should be considered in employer hiring practices?
I do not believe that white people are the only qualified people for jobs.
I didn't say that. Nobody said that.
That guy is so dumb. Everybody can see it.
Finally, Fire Marshal Bowman, remember him? He's back. And instead of pulling a fire alarm, he's pulling the race card. Bowman says he's fat because you're racist.
I'm a black man in America. The reason why heart disease.
I'm white, I can't comment.
Listen to what I'm saying. The reason why heart disease and cancer and obesity and diabetes are bigger in the black community is because of the stress we carry from having to deal with being called the N-word directly or indirectly every day.
Every day?
Every day? In New York City? We're not buying that, Bowman.
No.
And no DEI Thursday is complete without a victory. This week comes from Secretary Pete Hegseth, who stopped the DEI hoax dead in its tracks. Watch.
Why not acknowledge the female pilots that also participated in this mission? The early messages that you sent out only congratulated the boys.
So when I say something like our boys and bombers, see, this is the kind of thing the press does, right? Of course, the chairman mentioned a female bomber pilot. That's fantastic. She's fantastic. She's a hero. And I don't care if it's a male or a female in that cockpit, and the American people don't care. But it's the obsession with race and gender in this department that's changed priorities. We don't do that anymore. We don't play your little games.
Happy DEI Thursday.
Yeah.
This week, the annual Mermaid Parade descended on Coney Island. It's known for its colorful attire people wear or lack thereof. And this year, Johnny begged me not to go, but I sent him anyway.
What makes you a mermaid?
Can't you see?
I am a clown unicorn.
Well, actually, I'm a sea monster.
I don't know how to put this, but I'm kind of a big deal.
Why do you dress up like this?
I am dressed like this most weekends. Everywhere I go, I try to be like a little rainbow, a little freaky, a little fun.
How freaky are you?
Seashells here, and then I have a seashell right here as well.
I'm the only man on a float full of beautiful mermaids. Who can beat that? You? Hell no! You? No!
Well, I'm on this float too.
Get off.
Don't jump. You look crazy enough to jump. Don't jump. What do you do for a living?
I am a librarian.
I'm a real estate broker.
I'm a nanny.
Assistant for people with Alzheimer's and dementia.
I'm an educator.
What do you teach?
Science.
To?
Children.
Are they watching?
I hope not.
What do you like to do when you're alone?
Smoke pot?
Play with my balloons. Okay, Johnny has a heart on now.
They also use another word, but I'm not going to use that word.
What is your most controversial opinion?
You can wear white after Labor Day.
Make America great again. Yeah!
Ketchup with pizza. Cops love killing people. That's one of their main enjoyments.
Who do you call if you need help for something? Your life is in danger. You're calling.
I probably would call the cops.
Got him. How would you rate the job President Trump has been doing?
Is this a real question?
Amazing.
Anybody that's not kind and respectful, I don't like. What does he say that's not nice? Where he was making fun of a guy who was disabled, going, oh. Didn't you just make fun of that same guy? You're right. Okay.
Listen, okay.
If you were president of the United States, what would be the first thing that you do?
Everybody naked. I would give everybody a toy to play with.
I'm a big thing for homeless people.
You're attracted to homeless people?
No, not like that.
Really, my wife?
For better or worse, baby.
We are mad mermaid against dictators.
What does Donald Trump have against the mermaids?
Okay, we're not going to talk to you because you're a fascist.
Fascist. What are your thoughts on ice?
Like in a cocktail?
I believe I need a little more ice. You see the lady in the train station selling churros? They're delicious. Leave her alone.
How do we get illegal immigrants that are causing crime out of the country?
What the Everybody's causing crime.
So we should just allow all crime?
Yes, of course.
I have a question. Are you a Trump supporter?
Guilty. He's guilty.
How would you handle Iran?
I would run. I would have sex with all of them.
I would invite them to a dance party under the sea.
Under the sea, under the sea. Darling, it's better down where it's wetter.
Take it from me.
What do you want to tell Jesse Waters on Fox News?
Jesse, I'm not going to clean the sheets for you.
I don't know who Jesse Waters is.
You know who I am?
I don't know who you are.
Here's Johnny.
More prime time straight ahead.
All right, we're going to pause it right there. But I love covering Jesse's Water Prime Times. The man has a lot of good information to give us. So that bit at the beginning about Donald Trump and the Iran bombs, how they don't want to give credit to the great work that Americans did, just not to give Trump any credit, that's crazy. But it was a good attack. And they need to write movies about it, how great they did. They flew 36 hours just to get to Iran and then back. Incredible. But in any case, if you're still watching, my name is Noel. Give the video a thumbs up. That's all I really ask the audience to do. So like that, I could keep coming back and giving you guys videos, showing you guys more honest facts that the media doesn't want to show. All right? It is what it is because they are the #1 Trump haters. So I got to say it. Always been a Trump supporter, and I got to give the man props, man. What he did there in bringing Iran together with Israel, like making sure that they stopped that war that they got with each other and making sure that Iran doesn't develop a nuclear bomb. You got to give the man credit. So they don't do it, so we got to do it over here on social media. What can I tell you? But comment down below, let me know what you think. With that said, that was Jesse Waters Prime Time, man. Love that show. What was the other segment that he was talking about? Oh, yeah, that New York guy who won the primary for the Democratic Party. So he's going to be the pick for the Democrats to run for mayor in November. We're in June. So it's going to be a crazy summer. Him doing commercials, trying to get elected. And if he wins, it's going to be a crazy 4 years for New York City. Because that man is talking about defunding the police. We need the police. All right. He's talking about giving a whole bunch of gifts to poor people and to other people and raising the taxes for the rich people. Like, the man is just insane. He will be wrecking the city. What can I tell you? That's my thought. I agree with Jesse. He's going to be wrecking the city. So stay tuned for that. All right. Oh, here's a comment. Let me read this one. Maybe now you see why the Muslims hate us. Look at that freak show. Unfortunately, they don't understand. That's not the rest of us. We ain't like that. Shout out to Luz Mitchell for the comment. And I 100% agree with you. You know, we ain't like that. We got that maniac Muslim who's going to be running the city. And you know, the city, the whole world looks at what the city is doing. So he's going to make the whole country look bad if he wins. And he's going to make Republicans win the next election because people are going to see how the Democrats are nuts. And it's not all Democrats. It's mainly like the hard left Democrats, all right? Those who lean to the extreme left, they are the extreme problem. They need to just figure out how to get to the center, all right? How to reach everybody. Reminds me of From Jack to a King, but in reverse. Hey, that's funny. But if we get this crazy maniac to win come November, if you, oh man, I just can't even picture it, man. I grew up in Harlem, and there's a lot of crimes now. So we get less police, it's going to get worse. It only makes common sense. I guess I'm not part of the young wave, the young people, but those are just my thoughts. With that said, please give it a like, and I'm stuttering. With that said, see you guys on the next video. Peace.